Your Freshest Touch of Life, and we are talking about the book. And the book today is Coach Darryl Coached, Going for Two by author Corey McKinney. Corey McKinney is from Birmingham, Alabama, raised in Kingston Projects. He's the CEO of his business, Go for Two. He speaks to encourage people to help others in need, speaks to inspire and empower our youth, author of his new book, Coach Darryl Coached, and he's a graduate of the Steve Harvey Act Like a Success School of Business. How are we, Corey?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. Look, thanks for having let me interview you today. So I've been looking forward to this for a long time, ever since we met at the library. And I know it's taking me a minute to get around to it, but I met a lot of you all day. I'm trying to get around to every one of you. So let me say this about this book, because when I first started reading, and I hope I don't get kicked out of Alabama for saying this, because I'm not really what you call a sports fan, because I've never really been able to grasp the concept of football, baseball, basketball, whatever. So when I started reading this book, and I was like, okay, well, this reads like a playbook. Okay, so I kept reading. I didn't really understand a lot of it, but then I started getting into some of the lessons that young athletes learn from their coaches, like discipline and patience and teamwork and all of that. I was like, okay, cool. So this is not just about sports, because this is stuff that any child or even any adult can learn from this book. So I'm gonna let you tell us what the book is about in your words.
Okay, it's Coach Darryl Coached. It's a book that I wrote about my youth football team I played on growing up in Birmingham. The best youth football team of all time, if I have to say. It's a story that took place right here in Birmingham, 20 years removed from the civil rights era. It's about my coach. His name was Coach Daryl Whittington. Came into several different inner city projects, such as Kingston, where I'm from, Avondale, Gate City, High Chaparral. And actually we had guys from all walks of life on the team. And he was able to come in and put us all together, and we had a 6-year run with the coach. We learned a lot of things from him, like toughness and discipline and character and hard work. Made us very, very successful on the field. 6 years, 6 straight championship games appearance, 1 loss in 6 years.
All right.
So we were very, very good on the field, and a lot of things that we learned off the field as well, such as the hard work and character and discipline along the way.
All right, well, good deal. And so the Colts, these are Crestwood Colts, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so all 6 years, was it just Crestwood Colts?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good, very good. So tell me why you wrote the book.
Well, it was something that I have wanted to do for a long time, and just kind of didn't know how to do it as far as the book writing process goes. And I kind of started and stopped it a lot. And, I just thought about what we did and how special it was and how special what he did for us. Being a white male coming into the inner city black neighborhoods during that time was very, very dangerous and very rare. So I thought that, it's a story that needs to be told, especially with the things that's going on with our country now. It's not about a certain race or it's about doing right. So it was a story that I thought that should have been told a long time ago. So that's why I decided to write the book.
All right, very good. And so when Coach Darryl first came onto the scene, when was that? What year was that?
It was 1984.
1984. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm asking that, because you talk about this white guy, this white coach coming into the inner city, coming into the projects. Was he well received?
No, not at first. Actually, the first couple of times he came through, we kind of ran across some guys that wasn't too fond of it and said things to him and, even threatened him a little bit. But he stuck to his guns. He was consistent about helping us and helping the kids in the community. So after that, actually, the guys started to accumulate toward him and actually love him and actually geared toward him because of what he was doing with the players and with the guys in the community.
Right, and I read that, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's going into this project, and, they're confronting him, and he's not backing down because, not only are the guys in your neighborhood worried about you all, concerned about you and this guy coming in, but he's concerned about you too,
right.
Okay?
Right.
And, raising little boys, men don't back down, okay? And so he had a lot of courage in doing that, but, he was just a man being a man.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone, when you say you started and you stopped this book, why is that? Did you not know what angle it was going to be, whether it was going to be about the kids, whether it was going to be about the coach, or what exactly you'd write about?
Well, I knew what to write about. For me, it was just a part of just completing it.
Okay.
You know, I just kind of kept contemplating and going back and forth, and I would start and stop, and you know, that was the main thing for me, just actually putting it in my mind to actually finish and actually go ahead and get the story out.
Okay. All right. So let's delve into the story a little bit. Number one, I want to talk about who is this book written for and why? Because I read the book, and like I said, I thought it reads like a playbook. So is it for young athletes? Is it for teens? Is it for adults? Who is it written for?
For me, it's a two-part. One for our youth, to learn the fact that the hard work and the character and the discipline will not only allow you to be successful in sports, but in life as well. So that was one part of it. And the second part of it was for adults. You know, a lot of times we think that, you know, our one vote doesn't count, or being an individual we can't make a huge difference. And it couldn't be no further from the truth. You know, one person can make a huge difference and make a huge impact in others' lives. And that impact can actually affect you the rest of your life. And it's something also that you can pass down to your kids from generation to generation to come.
Okay, very good. Now, these kids that he coached, I mean, you know, obviously grown into an adult, and you had a lot of respect for this man. Did everyone respect him in that way on the team? I mean, did the whole team really value him? And do you talk about that in the book?
Yeah. Actually, everyone did. He was a disciplinarian, and he was stern. So, you know, his message just got across pretty clear. You know, it was a couple of guys that, you know, used to, you know, try him, or challenge him, and do things like that. But it didn't take long to find out that, you know, he didn't play with Coach Darryl.
Yeah. All right, good deal. And he also welcomed you all into his home.
Correct.
Well,
correct.
Because he would pick you all up to go to the games because you didn't have rides. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And in the book, you know, a couple of guys, we used to walk to practice. You know, and that was a pretty good walk from where we were living at to from Kingston to Crestwood. It's probably a 45-minute walk with our pads. So a couple of guys used to kind of come late, and then he saw that, and he started to made a route to actually pick us up from practice, drop us off from practice. So on Friday nights before we played a game, he would actually allow us to spend the night over his home at his house.
Okay.
And we used to watch films and have fun and eat, and you know, we just learned a lot of things. So he opened up not only himself but his family as well.
Right. And one of the things that I really like about this book is that it pays homage to him, to the coach. It's not just talking about yourself and not just talking about the team. And when you can write a book about somebody who's made an impact on your life, because we all want to leave this world having made some kind of impact on somebody, right? So on into your adulthood, would you say that these same lessons you've been able to carry with you, and in what way?
Well, a lot of ways, actually. You know, I have two young men now, you know, 20 years old and 15 years old. So, and watching them grow up, you know, I used a lot of the same things that were taught to me from Coach and with my boys, you know, for us to discipline and doing their jobs and doing their chores at home and working hard. And those things, you know, like I said, they can teach you a lot in sports, but more importantly, a lot in life.
Really? And so, teaching you a lot in sports, because I was kind of quizzing my grandson here a little bit earlier today about what going for two men. Of course, he knew what that meant, and I never thought about it until I started reading this book, because he plays football as well, and I never thought about the lessons that he learned on the field really would help him, through life as well. And so obviously it does. But let me ask you this about some of the other coaches that you played ball with. Where are they? Were they influenced to the point like you that these same lessons were, applied to their life? Are they doing well? What direction did they go to? Do they still, talk about coaching the way that you do?
Yes, exactly. Actually, we have a group on Facebook, a group chat that we all still talk and get together and talk about past times and coaching, how it affected their lives as well. And I talk to guys all the time that I played with, and we still talk about it today like it happened last weekend. Is that
right? Okay, so and so are you in contact with the coach's family?
Yes, I actually, when I launched the book, and Coach actually passed away, so he wasn't able to see this, but I was able to get his wife and family back when I launched the book. So I was very, very pleased with that, by the whole family being able to come back and see, what we did with the book.
Okay, and I'm sure that they were quite honored about that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. So is this your first book?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is it a follow-up?
Yeah, I'm me and my wife, we're foster parents, so I'm working on the second book now that's going to be called Foster Dad. It's kind of talking about the angle of helping kids out, from a dad's point of view, because it make a huge difference in kids' life, when there's a male figure around.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, and I imagine you're going to make quite an impact on those kids. Do you have foster kids now that you're caring for?
Yeah, we're still doing foster care. I don't have one at this current moment, but I've been fostering and mentoring kids for the last 7 years.
Okay. So at the time when you were writing this book, did either your kids or foster kids, how did they influence your writing on this book? Or were they with you? Were they in this with you? Were they following along with you? Were they inquisitive about why you were doing it, what you were talking about, and how this reflected on them?
Yeah, they had a lot of questions about it. I got that a lot. Why are you writing a book and what's going on? So I would try to explain to them the reason for it. And being a foster parent, I've seen and heard so many stories from kids and the things that they've gone through. So I try to write this book to hopefully inspire more adults to become more aware of it and to become more involved, in our youth, with our youth.
Okay, so one of the things about talking about nonfiction books is they always relate to, of course, life. And so we're going to talk about that just a minute. So because a lot of kids don't have people to mentor them, okay, what's your advice to listeners? I mean, because sometimes I hear when things go on, things go wrong in Birmingham or locally where kids are getting into trouble, people are always saying, where's this group and where's that group, but maybe they're not looking for them. Do they exist, and how do people find those groups? Or do you mentor kids? How do you do that, and where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm actually my website is www.gofor2.net, and they can look at my website. My email address is www.goingfor2@gmail.com. That's GOINGTOO.net. So they can reach me that way, and I'm working with several different organizations like the Danny Project as well.
Okay, very good.
Don't you guys go anywhere. We got some more coming up with. Hey, y'all, we going for 2 more points on the other side, so you guys stay locked in. It's the hottest radio show in the land, baby.